Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome, 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 welcome. It's Friday. That means it's time for another CryptoManiacs podcast, streaming everywhere for your viewing pleasure. I use pleasure with little bunny ears because I don't know if this is either pain or heartache or if you actually enjoy this. But we are glad and honored that you are here listening to us at the end of the week. Task, how's your week been so far, man?
Going fairly well. Got a little issue with my left hand, kind of going numb. So this is not a fun thing interrupting my commenting. But other than that, I can't type as well as I used to, and I go back to the old hunt and peck, two fingers on one
Do you do
hand.
that? You do
No, I
it?
usually don't, but I'm a
Uh,
rather accomplished typist. But
Ooh.
now with my hand the way it is in my forearm, I don't know if I got some nerve damage or what. So just been dealing with that. But other than that, going well, man. Still able to list nerds in. So been
Yeah.
doing that and going to put together a post here next few days, maybe over the weekend on list nerds, some progress and things of that nature.
Very
Had a
nice.
great show on Tuesday with block trades. I hope everybody got excited about it. It's John and I had a show after the show, if you will, with him for a little while. We talked with him, and
Yeah.
he said some things off record, so we won't go into them. But he has some exciting plans in his head, and I a lot of it seems doable.
Mm-hmm.
So
There you go.
good stuff.
Yeah, I was definitely the butt of the jokes on the comments because I basically sat there for an hour and just listened. So today you guys got to put up with me being active again. So you had a day off of me not talking. I apologize in advance. Hello, Jimmy.
Well, don't forget there's 3 other shows during the week that you do talk. So
yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm still around. I'm like that annoying Uncle John. Guys, tons of stuff to go over. Obviously, your questions and comments. I kind of did a little different thing this week. I didn't necessarily say, "Hey, what are your questions?" It was more like, "What are you more excited about?" Hello, Chris. What are you guys excited about Hive? And I thought that'd be cool. So we're gonna get some of your. First of all, there is questions. Lots of people put in questions, but also there's some things that people are excited about, and we'll mention them, and we'll get Task's input in it because it's always good to listen to the good sir and his opinion of things, and if he shares your excitement or not. And of course, I'm sure Rick will be back with his pricing questions this week. I almost guarantee it. So let's dive into it. So I'm going to share the screen.
Before you start,
Yeah.
do you think he listens to the show for the answers? Obviously, he just puts it up, and we say we don't do this stuff, we don't focus on it, and yet every week it's the same question. So it makes me wonder whether he even waits for the answer.
I don't think he does. But if you do, Rick, if you do, let us know. If you are listening to this, Rick, let us know. I'll send you a nice little Hive tip in the next comment. Just tell us that you were listening to us. We'll see.
Rick, the answer is 56.
50 cents. Yes, if you put
56.
50 cent?
56, not 50 cent, 56. That's what it's going.
Oh, 56. Oh, I thought you said 50 cent. I'm like, what are you?
No, 56 is what it's going to.
Okay, it's going to 56. Gotcha. Perfect. Beautiful.
There you go, Rick. And whatever it is, it's going to 56.
Love it. So let's get into it. First question's up from Tom Aliente. He says, I think humans naturally want to make connections with other people. Hive has made it possible to do what people like to do and get paid for it. And there are many potential uses for the blockchains. We are just at the beginning. Well, I mean, for me, and I mentioned this, I think it was either yesterday. I don't know if it was yesterday or one of the shows I did this week about, how important layer 2 is. Because people get really, there's a section of the population inside of Hive that get very uppity about protecting the rewards pool. And that's fine. that is what it is. That's fine. Everyone's saying that we need to focus on layer 2. Well, layer 2 allows that. That's what's beautiful, and I know Chris, who's in the audience, does this a lot too. He goes and checks, and he's blown away from all the different tokens that he's earning because he is connecting with other people. It's not just the Hive rewards that you're getting, and that's a very unique part of the experience here. So if you go into this, I think my opinion is, if you go into this expecting rewards, you're going to get pissed off. You're going to rage quit. It's not going to be an enjoyable experience. But if you come in doing exactly what you said, Tom, making it possible so that you connect with other people and like what you do, and the rewards are a side benefit of that. That's kind of the benefit of showing up every day. The benefit of engaging with people every day are the rewards. But I wouldn't do this and say, oh, I'm going to get rewarded to do it, so I'm going to do it. It's, I'm going to do this because I love it. I'm going to do this in entrepreneurial sense to build a brand. And yeah, it's fantastic. I think so. Taz?
I don't disagree. I echo that sentiment. It's a change since we started too. I mean, when we started, there was 2 tokens to get rewarded in.
Yep.
Now there's a lot more, and the hope is down the road that some of these are going to have incredible value.
Absolutely. Hi, Alex. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Jay Fang is up, and unreal. Jay Fang's got a pricing question, but there's a question in it, so don't worry, Task. Don't rage. Now that the Hive price is down quite a bit, I am wondering if I should pull out some HBD to buy some Hive while it's cheap. What are you and Task doing in regards to this? This is a really good question because we have that ability here on Hive.
Well, I mean, it's Hive is, or HBD is a stable coin, stable-ish coin.
Mm-hmm.
So if it only makes sense if you think that Hive is low, that you have a wonderful opportunity to buy at a reduced price and then enjoy the run if you do believe that Hive is going to go to much higher levels. That's
Right.
the idea of parking your money in a stable coin, that it holds up a lot better than these other tokens. And so if you think that Hive is near a bottom, obviously Hive is seriously reduced from where it was, a month and a half, 2 months ago, whatever.
Right.
It's not necessarily a bad idea. Now, obviously, if you have your HBD in savings, you are getting a 12% return. So you have to decide, is your long-term view that Hive is going to go up more than 12% a year from this point?
Right.
But that's the idea of stable coins. You take a stable coin, you can use it for commerce, you can use it for a return, or you can also use it as a parking place. And if you think markets are overpriced and you sell a little Hive and convert to HBD when it's on a big run like we had, then turn around and doing the opposite is not a bad thing. But it all fits into your plan. I mean, I'm not going to do that because I got a fair bit of Hive. So I want to keep increasing my HBD stake for the long-term, long-term savings and compounding there. But it's just a matter of where you're at and what you think will grow. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world to take HBD right now and convert it to Hive at about 85 cents or whatever we're at, because I believe that Hive will be much higher levels, and you got easily a 3-4x from here. It's going to take a long time in HBD savings to get to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I've done that before. To be brutally honest with you, I have done it, but I don't really look at those as much as I used to. I think this is the thing, when there was just like Hive and HBD or Steam and SPD back then, you did that a lot more. I seem to always flip, like, should I buy Hive? Should I buy HBD? When there was just those two options. Like, I used to do that a lot more a couple of years ago. while I still think, yeah, sure, like you said, Task, yeah, like it could be a really good choice. But for me, I look at all the different options, right? So I kind of don't just sit in the one. The Hive ecosystem is so broad for me. There's so many different tentacles we've got going out around. So I don't really flip back and forth anymore as much as I used to, personally. But I know that some people do all the time. I mean, just go look at the internal market. There's always people buying and flipping this stuff. So there you go. Hope that helps. Great question. So it was price question, but not too bad. Not too bad. There you go. Yeah, King01 says, in these moments of uncertainty, both worldwide and in the crypto market, how do you protect yourself? What is your active refuge? So I'm guessing, like, where are you stashing your funds with all the madness going on in the world?
Well, I actually went and bought some Tesla yesterday because that's a long-term hold of mine. And, times of uncertainty, there's always uncertainty. I mean, that's, I mean, it's, we saw the situation yesterday morning in the Western hemisphere here that, the markets opened up and sold off big. And before that, overnight for us, the crypto markets were open and they got hit because, Russia went into Ukraine. Well, the markets are up big today,
Right.
the equity market, and it's because Moscow is, well, we're open to talking. So, everybody talks about what's going to happen. Is China going to invade Taiwan? Interest rates are going up, and mortgage rates have been going up since the Fed talked about raising interest rates, but the Fed hasn't raised interest rates. China hasn't invaded Taiwan. Yes, Russia did make a move on Ukraine, but that may have been just kind of a, let me pull out my, what, and show that mine's bigger than yours type deal. You know, you got to separate what's going on from speculation and stories and the media and bullshit. And nothing's certain. That's why markets go up. That's why markets go down. I mean, there is no certainty there ever. You just, and from an investment standpoint, my approach is I have long-term holds that I look at adding. I did not add any Bitcoin yesterday. Maybe I should have, but I have no way of telling whether this downside is done. I mean, things could flare up, and at the end of the day, it's just noise. Ignore the noise. Crypto's in a bearish sentiment even before Russia and Ukraine and all this shit. So until we see a turnaround, adding some of your favorite tokens on a price drop is not a bad idea. It's your long-term holds. Could we get Bitcoin at lower levels? Possibly. Could Tesla, for me, go to another lower level? Possibly. And I didn't use up all my money. I have some powder in the keg. So if we do see lower levels, I'll do some more buying. But these are long-term holds. And to me, that is the best strategy because ultimately, if it's a long-term hold, it's probably a successful, you believe it's going to be a successful endeavor.
Right.
And the bull always returns at some point. It may be 6 months, it might be a year, it might be 2 years, but the bull always returns. And if you are stacking and adding more in terms of the units, then when the bull runs in terms of your monetary worth, the value, the market will send it much higher and you'll be that much further ahead. That's why, Hive is so wonderful because even though the price of Hive is going down, we still have the ability to keep adding, by earning tokens. And if they're Hive engine tokens that we don't want, we can always swap them out, get swap Hive. And if you want, you can convert it and power that up. Or you can be a rewarded Hive. You can play trading games like Jay Feng just mentioned about flipping HBD for Hive.
Right.
You can do a lot of different things, curating to keep growing your stack. And people call it dollar cost averaging. It's a proven strategy. And, doing that crap on Hive, you're dollar cost averaging with a new cost of zero.
Mm.
When all of a sudden you claim your rewards, there's no cost in there other than your time and your effort.
Mm.
So that's what I did. And, if this continues and things go lower, I'll probably buy a little bit more of my favorite stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I nothing's really changed for me. Personally, I just keep on keeping on. I didn't run to and I know a lot of people are very anti-bank in this, but I didn't run to the bank and pull all my money out and dump it into gold and silver. I didn't do that. I didn't take it all out and go all in on Bitcoin.
Well, if I could interject here, and something very interesting happened. Gold, and people call it inflation play because it does tend to have a correlation in hindsight. But to me, the gold is uncertain. So if gold is running, there's uncertainty. And gold seems to pick up on this.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually runs before events happen. And anyway, we saw a big update in gold overnight because gold, of course, was open when Russia pulled this stunt. And so the gold market took off. And when I woke up, gold was up enormous and oil was up big. Oil was up like 7.5%. And I said, I don't do any shorting. I don't have that capability out of any of my accounts. But if I did, I said I'd short oil because 7% gain in one day or, in 8 hours is not going to hold. But I look today and gold and oil are both dropping back. So, you mentioned gold and everybody getting on, but gold is not telling us it's been sideways trading for a year and a half, 40-year high in inflation, and gold's been sideways trading. Why is that? Because even though we've had a lot of bullshit and, you talk about COVID and all this other stuff, the funny thing is it was not, we knew variants were going to come. That was no surprise. This, with this type of stuff, new variants roll out. So gold, to me, has been telling us, a lot of stuff is not going to change. It's all noise. And so these people, you had that situation in Canada. And yes, I think, what Trudeau did is going to be problematic for international dollars because of trust issues, but not because the world was going to hell in a handbasket. Gold is telling us that, actually kind of for all the bullshit, things are kind of boring. That's what gold is saying. It's boring. Nothing really crazy going on. And
I haven't done anything different, and that's just it. I still dollar cost average into things, and I'm not. It's fear and uncertainty and doubt and all this stuff. But to me, it's just like, just keep on keeping on. And if it all does go to hell in a handbasket, well, I have my old Steam silver dollars that I've got. So.
Well, and we did realize in March and April of 2020, everything got whacked. At that time, the safe move was to cash. Okay, it was short-lived, but that was the safe move. And the one thing I think we're realizing, or that people should be realizing, is that, and I've maintained this for a while, that cryptocurrency is not the safety play. It is still the risk on, risk off. So if the world is taking on more risk, crypto will run. If it's taking off risk and going for a flight of safety, crypto is going to sell off. And that includes Bitcoin. We can call it digital gold, but Bitcoin's off tremendously from its all-time highs, as gold is off from its all-time highs. But as I said, gold's traded sideways. Bitcoin is run up and run down. And I think Bitcoin mirrors now more the NASDAQ and tech stocks that can get overvalued, if you will, or can run a great deal. And then when the sentiment changes, they get hammered. And that's what's happened with crypto. So you and I just keep building. And, again, the bull market will come.
It will.
At some point.
This happens in cycles. We've prided ourselves at the CryptoManiacs podcast for not being too controversial. We don't really stir it up. We don't attack. We don't get pissed off. We don't do rages. That might change with this next question because it might be very controversial. And Task might not have any clue what this is about, but let's dive into it, and we will see what the reaction is like. Chappelle says, I don't understand why the price of a live token is dropping while others like CTP are stable or even growing. Okay. So, I love everybody. Just saying that. That's my disclaimer. Task, first of all, do you know what the Alive token is? Do you?
I've seen people posting about it, and I guess there's a tribe that's there.
Right.
I don't, again, I don't follow it very closely, but then there's dozens of tribes and projects I don't, follow closely. So I don't know what the controversy is, and quite frankly, prices go up, prices go down. People get in beefs. People try to sabotage stuff. Who knows?
I'm trying to do this as politically correct as I can. So I'm going to do this, and hopefully Task doesn't go, oh my gosh, we're going to get our 38 million viewers down to 2 million after this. But the problem with the Alive token, and I'm not, compare CTP. The reason CTP is growing, and we'll touch on this a little bit later with one of Task's questions, actually, is that there's use case for CTP.
Now there is.
Yeah, I mean, there's you can buy and sell with it. You earn it. You earn more of it when it's staked in listeners.
Well, it also is an entryway. It's kind of like Hive in a sense. It's an entryway onto the listeners platform because, when you think about it, if I understand it correctly, the more CTP you stake, the more emails you can receive. Correct?
The more you can verify. Yes.
Verify. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and the more CTP you have staked inside listeners, the more you can verify, which in turn turns to more rewards. So there's CTP is growing because of that. Leo is growing because of everything that's going on. The problem with Alive token is this: Alive started out as a great idea. During the pandemic, when it first started, the creators of Alive created a tribe that really kind of was birthed out of the CTP community. And the idea behind it was to tell people that, while everything is going on and there's all this fear in the world, tell people why you are alive. Let people know why you're alive and thriving. Just a positive message to get people fired up. Great, fantastic. It was called the I Am Alive Challenge. The problem with this is that 2 years later, the challenge has not ended. So what you see I Am Alive day 1526. So people just post every single day the same thing. I am alive. I'm alive and I'm grateful. And I'm alive and I'm doing this. And it's day 50. Then it's day 51. Then it's day 52. There's no end to the challenge. So what happens, in my opinion, is that people mute it out. People absolutely mute out that content. There's no real growth. It's not challenging its members. And I've said this many times in a lot of our shows and in public spaces that the best thing the Alive tribe could do to create some growth and real big attention to it is stop the challenge. Like, have a time limit, 30 days. Do your posts for 30 days and then grow into something else. Instead of doing I Am Alive day 1725 and then 726 the next day, have it a 30-day, a short timeline that will help. After they've done it, they should be a lot better off than they were in day one. Now they can go out and spread the news about it, pull more people in. Their content would have improved over those 30 days, et cetera, et cetera. So the reason why I think that is I think people just mute it out. There's a community, but the community doesn't really grow. It just sits there and it talks about I Am Alive day 1722. And then the next day they do 1723 and then 1724. There's no real growth there. So My suggestion, again, I'm not part of the tribe. I just know of it because it kind of, again, was birthed out of CTP, is that the challenge should be a time limit, start and an end date, and then let people grow after that. So they're not putting this kind of content out where it's saying, day, whatever it is. So I'm not trying to be too controversial.
And if I could add something to this, and I have no idea about it, but going back to Tuesday's show and our discussion with Block Trades about the HBD, the idea that he said we need use cases. That's his first and foremost. And I think that extends to all the tribes, and that's what we just said with CTP. And I'm sure when you get to my question, we'll have a follow-up, if you will, or an extension on that idea. But, what is the use case? And we get a lot of tribes that have appeared, and many of them since the early days, but like Palmet, Neo-Exian. What is the use case for the token? And you had the proof of brain, then you had the what's that? What YX? I forget what the new one is. And it's like, okay, and I understand there's changes and one doesn't allow downvotes, and okay, great experiment. But at the end of the day, what is the use case for these tokens? Selling it for other tokens. That's really what it comes down to. So like you said, you either have to grow the community so other people want the tokens and be able to upvote content and use the proof of brain mechanism, or you need to provide a use case or multiple use case for the tokens. And Leo Finance, which by the way, Leo Finance has dropped a considerable amount from their all-time high. But they're still creating use cases and different liquidity pools and things of that nature. And CTP now has a use case, which we'll get into. And Hive, which I wrote the utility of Hive. That was my article this morning about the different use cases. That's what this stuff needs. And you set up a tribe and just say, well, we're going to proof of brain, and why? And so we're going to upvote content and distribute the tokens. Okay, great. Then what? Then after a while, well, you can stake it. Okay, great. Then what? Well, eventually people are just going to sell it off. And I think that's the problem with, Chris said that it's like a new token pops up every day. You put that in chat. Yeah. That's true. But how many of them actually have use cases? And that's not to bash them, because maybe they'll develop them down the road. But that's where development teams have to be thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just to me, I think that if they would grow a lot more if they got out of the never-ending challenge, right?
Yeah, and I'm not discounting what you're saying, because I don't know, and that seems to make a lot of sense. I mean, and Chris said the posts are the same thing over and over and over again, which is true. I mean, like you said, that makes it very easy to tune it out.
All right. So, but it's a very supportive community, right? They support each other, and I just think that would help it grow. So that's what I would do. But so hopefully it wasn't too controversial. Thank you for the question, though. Fiber Frau is up. Could it be possible soon to do most every business task on the chain without bankers, bureaucrats, insurance brokers? I would love to see smart contracts put a lot of attorneys out of business, for example. Americans spend far too much unproductive time worrying about legal garbage invented by politicians, a plurality of whom are lawyers. I would love to see Galt's Gulch in my lifetime. Read Atlas Shrugged for the reference, which I've never read, but I'm sure that's a staple of literature everywhere. Do you see that possibility where lawyers are gone and out of business?
Well, that is an interesting concept, because if you subscribe to the view code is law,
Yeah.
There's nothing to dispute.
Exactly. Yep.
The dispute takes again, and having block trades on it, it really meshes nicely. The dispute is before block trades puts the code down. Once the code is down and it's accepted and it's hard forked in, there's no more dispute. Now, dispute can take place and we can undo it in the next hard fork, but it is what it is. And smart contracts can replace theoretically, can replace a lot of the legal system. Um, it's much like in the same way with money, though. I'll answer it this way. We're in such early stages, and the magnitude of the existing system versus what we have in place now with infrastructure and bandwidth and all that, it's like, the Rose Bowl versus a penny. I mean, it's
Right.
just like, the capacity of the Rose Bowl versus, let's say, a Dixie cup or a thimble. It's not even close. And so when you look at it from that perspective, we got a lot of work to do. Is this a viable viewpoint 10, 15 years down the road? I'm not going to say it's not. We know that the financial industry, we know the banking industry, probably the insurance industry, a lot of things are under attack, not only because of blockchain, but because of many technologies. But what's to say the legal industry isn't going to change, isn't going to be obliterated, isn't going to be disrupted? There's no reason to think that the internet is not going to disrupt that industry too, and disrupt laws and governance of all kinds. And, I mean, as more people are involved in network states, where's the dispute? If you have smart contracts and here's how you settle a dispute on blockchain. You leave, you go to another blockchain.
Yeah.
You don't like it, leave. That's
or fork
it. Or fork it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or fork
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it brings it up a lot. I remember reading Don Tapscott's book like 5 years ago, The Blockchain Revolution, and there was a part in there where he started describing smart contracts and how cars can become autonomous and set up their own little corporations and start, if they're self-driving, they can take care of themselves, go get gas up. They can go, if there's a problem with the car, they can fix it. They can drive to the shop and get fixed. They can, it's a little taxi service. So this is how they increase their money. And then it becomes its own thing. It becomes its own entity where it's growing and there's no humans that own it. And it was like on one side of the coin, you're like, oh boy, that's, anybody watch the Terminator movies ever?
Well, but
Skynet?
now somebody will own it. Somebody's always going to own it. But who's going to own it? Because who buys the Tesla or whatever the robo taxi is? But my answer to that is, well, we just set up a DAO to do that. And so then nobody owns it, but everybody owns it, or everybody has a chance to own it. Right. And you can fractionalize and you can sell tokens in it, and you can buy $100 worth. I can buy $50 worth. Somebody else can buy $2 worth. And we each own a piece of that robo taxi in Cincinnati, or then we can invest in another one in Montreal and another one in wherever. So when you start to read people like that, and you see the foresight of where it is, and this is why I keep saying we're in the early stages, because this is not operating in a vacuum. We're tied to other technologies. We're tied to what's happening with electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles and AI and virtual reality and augmented reality and quantum computing ultimately, and all this other stuff. We are tied to it with blockchain. How it all is going to fit together, we don't really know.
Right.
But when you read people like Don Tapscott and some of these other people, and you got Vitalik talking about what did he talk about? Crypto cities, I think he called it.
Right. Yeah.
It's just you get into this stuff, and it's like, now we can see this stuff, but most people couldn't see it 5 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
that's just what it is, and again, going back to our talk after talk the other day, some of the stuff that was thrown after you and I, and we're just sitting there and saying, okay, I can see that, but how the hell are you going to get from here to there? And it's like, well, have fun coding that, sucker. I don't know where you begin to do that, but that's not my problem. But that's just, there's people out there who are thinking about this stuff and trying to integrate it. And it's like, okay, well, now after a couple years or a couple more pieces go in line, all of a sudden you sit there 2, 3, 4 years later and you say, oh yeah, what he was talking about, that makes total sense now.
Yeah, man.
So to bring it back to the question, yeah, we may be entering the end of this decade saying, yeah, why the hell do we have all these attorneys? Or all these attorneys are going to be running around saying, oh my God, I better figure out how to make money playing video games because I can't make any money practicing law.
Yeah, man. Exactly. Rick's question. We alluded
56.
to it earlier. 56. We'll read it out. This will be fun. I would like to know if the Hive has a tendency to drop more and even reach 50 cents in the month of March or April.
56, not 50 cents.
Will April see a good recovery? Regarding the war that is going on between Russia and the Ukraine and everybody, how the Hive and other cryptocurrencies are going to react? Will it be downtrend or uptrend?
56.
50 cents. I have no idea.
56, not
56.
cents.
56.
So
56
cents. 56 cents or 556 dimes. I don't care what you say. 56 Satoshi, 56,000 Satoshi. You figure it out. It's 56.
I have no idea, Rick. I'd love to tell you. If I could tell you that, we'd all be billionaires, right? Yes, we are psychic. Yes, Chris, definitely.
Psychotic, maybe.
Psychotic, maybe, yes. I saw Eliana stopped in. I just got to say happy birthday to Eliana. I don't know if she's still here, but happy birthday, Eliana. So, got to shout out the legend that is Eliana. Taskmaster 4450 LE wants to know, CTP allows one to get more emails and listeners. Are there plans to add the use case of CTP within listeners? The first, the stupid simple answer is that you can buy everything in listeners with CTP. That's the first thing. The way we want to go with this, with secret project, shaky shakies and all sorts of things like that.
Project Blank 2.
Project Blanks. Project Blanks, plural.
Project Blanks.
Yes, CTP would definitely be attached at the hip of that. So there's lots of things we want to do. Of course, as everyone's well aware, Blaine is but one man. Getting into this, still learning all of the blockchain stuff. It's one developer. So, and he does a full-time job too on top of that. So he's busy. He's literally got a million things going on. So we have plans. Like, we have so many plans to incorporate CTP much more into listeners, staking possibilities, all sorts of cool things. So yes, there are plans to add more use case for CTP. Absolutely. So thanks for the question, Taskmaster 4450 LE.
You're welcome. Thanks for sending it out on Listener so I can find the damn post.
You're welcome. I always do. I do my best.
Yeah, see, that's the value of listeners. And I mean, I never really usually saw the post. And now I don't even need to worry about it because I know you send it out each week, so it'll be in my listeners. I'll come across it. I mean, what a wonderful tool. I mean, that even if it's not a promotional tool, it's a tool to interact, engage.
Raise
it's
awareness.
It's like when you email out something to announce, a party or a show or something. A meeting, businesses email out, okay, be here on Friday for that manager's meeting. Starts at 9 a.m. The VP will be in.
Yeah.
You can use listeners like that. I mean, use email in its basic form as a communication tool. but part of the listeners platform. I mean, it's just the use cases are just growing, and that's why I like listeners. It's going to be a winner.
We hope more people use it like that too, because we found that's great results when you're sending out broadcasts to inform people of things.
Because they read it. They're bribed to read it. So, you'll read the email, whereas the rest of the time, I mean, in your personal email, if it's an old email like my Yahoo account, 90% of it's spam at this point in time.
Yeah, exactly. And we're keeping everyone at inbox 0 as much as possible. How about that? That's another goal of ours, right? Gratitude Mine is up. And this is a comment, not necessarily a question, but he says the beauty about Hive, for one, is the availability of different communities that satisfies different interests and needs. Excuse me. Secondly, one is learning and equally earning. Thirdly, is preparing me dynamically for the Web3 future. That's a really good point. Those are really good points all across the board. But that's what the big nugget for me was with Hive. Like a lot of times, specifically in the CTP community, the first interaction people are having with the blockchain, the first interaction they're having with any type of crypto at all, is something that they can sit there and learn from, but earn in the process. So they're more enticed and more attracted to sticking around and poking around more, because they're actually learning or earning while they're learning, which is a beautiful thing. So absolutely. And it sets us up, like the last point there, for all the Web3 stuff that's coming. So I mean, again, obviously, Task and I talking about how much we love Hive. I mean, water's wet, So
yeah, I don't know how many times I've written this in a comment. Invest the time to learn what's going on with Hive. It will be well worth the effort.
Yep.
And something else that I'm thinking, especially after Tuesday's show, I'm sorry to keep harping on it, but that did really get me excited what he was talking about. We see all these projects looking to go outside and to try to tap into this market and that market and get on this blockchain, that blockchain, which is fine and it's smart. But what happens if we are where the puck is going? Like what They Call Me Dan says. What if everybody's looking outside of where to go next and we're already here? Because at some point, all eyes are going to turn upon this. And, I'm not one that believes, I'm not a maximalist that there's only going to be one blockchain that dominates everything. That's not going to happen. But I still believe, and I know you agree with this, John, Hive is going to be a significant factor in this Web 3.0. And that's one of the things we've talked about on Leo Finance is you come to Leo Finance, you read the stuff that people are posting. There's some people on there who are experts at cryptocurrency. They know cryptocurrency. I know Hive. Neil McSpadden, he doesn't post a lot, but when he posts about different things, about trading and stuff like that, in different blockchains, Cal, the same thing, when he starts talking about these different blockchains in his post, bet your ass they know what they're talking about. And there's other people out there. Jerry the Farmer is another one who's rather recent, and he goes out and reads and knows a lot about different blockchains and different projects. And the point is, you'll learn about this stuff, but at the same time, you're engaging and you'll start earning some Leo. You'll start learning some Hive. If the upvote has it, you'll start getting some CTP. And, then you'll learn about these other projects on Hive. I mean, we've been on Leo Finance, and I'm not saying this negatively. It's a wonderful thing. We've been hit with a lot of listeners posts. Well, if you're on Leo Finance, by now you've heard of listeners. Check it out. If you're earning yourself some CTP, put it on there. Get involved. Buy yourself some CTP. If what's happening to Chris is happening to you, you're getting all these tokens. Well, maybe sell some of them that you're not really that interested in. Get some CTP, stake it, start getting more emails, start to get involved, earn yourself a few lists here and there. it just starts. It's another avenue that you can build.
Yep. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
And compounds. It
and
keeps
compounds.
on giving compounds.
Very true. Thank you for the comments. Gratitude. Appreciate it. Arcane is up next. We are herd animals and definitely not meant to exist in solitude. So how great is it that you can connect with people and get paid and rewarded? Pretty damn great, if you ask me. Yeah, I mean, it's, and beating a dead horse here, but we're still very early. I mean, Hive is still, thousands of active accounts, not millions.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when this thing, like you just said, the Wayne Gretzky thing? What happens if we are the puck that's already there? Like, what happens if we don't need to go anywhere? We're already here, and it's the rest of the world that has to come here. Well, we're positioning ourselves perfectly right now. So,
and I mean, to some people that might sound outrageous because millions of people, the whole blockchain has like 2 million accounts, and many of them are dead and duplicate and triplicate and all that. We had the big push by Splinterlands, but we know that was a lot of bots, so that's duplicate accounts. But nevertheless, there were still more players in there, so that was humans. We know we're building more use cases for Hive because the Hive account will work for all the different applications, and anything new that comes out that has monetary use case tied to it will require a Hive account for the most part. Mm-hmm. But what happens, and again, I'll beat the listener's drum, you and I have talked about, you and other people have talked about, we've talked about it on the air in addition to in our private conversations. But what about listeners at 100,000 people? Now, from where you're standing now, that sounds like an outrageous total. But when you think about the entire affiliate marketing, email marketing sphere, that's like just a drop in the bucket. That's nothing.
Peanuts.
It's peanuts. There's I'm sure there's platforms that have tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of emails. Now, okay, a lot of them are dummy and no good and that type of crap. But there's still a lot of people out there who could be targeted and could use this service. So 100,000 people on listeners, real people utilizing the service, it's not outrageous. Yeah. What would that do to Hive if you had 100,000 people on listeners, forgetting Leo Finance, forgetting Splinterlands, forgetting Roanoke, forget Ragnarok, forgetting Speak Network, forgetting HBD and fixed income, forgetting all that stuff. Now you're talking probably 5-10 million people easily if Splinterlands has 100,000. What does that do to this place?
Exactly.
220 million Hive floating out there on the open market. What does it do with, to the value of everything? Seems outlandish. The naysayers say it'll never happen. We'll see.
We'll see. Good points. Lisa's up. She said, I think the Hive Auth application is a nice idea. I do need to figure out how to use it, though. I was on the homepage, and for some reason, it just isn't clicking. I would like to use it on... What's that? Sorry?
What? The what? Seems... Hive what?
Hive Auth.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that is.
Arcane's thing.
Oh, Hive Auth. I thought you said Hive Off. Okay.
Yeah, Hive Off, man. No.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, we got Hive onboarding, Hive Off. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, I know. Get out of Hive.
Okay.
She said she'd like to use it on my phone to log into Peak D. Will CTP Talk have it integrated as well? Absolutely. We are in the process of getting it all set up. Just Blaine kind of ran into a truck, literally. So he's kind of had to put that on the back burner, but that is definitely coming very soon. The best thing about Hive Auth is that I know it's integrated in Peak D already. They did that this week, so you'll be able to log in with your phone. So it's pretty straightforward. Use your phone, log in. You gotta have the keychain app on your phone to do it. And I'm pretty sure you can shut the app down if you're on Android. You can't shut the app down and use it if you're on Apple. You need to have the app running in the background to continue to be logged in. You remember that when he mentioned that first
Yeah,
time he
he
was
said
here?
they had to do a workaround with Apple
Yeah.
for some reason.
So yeah, it's great. It's fantastic, and you're going to see a lot more applications start using it, Lisa. So um, get ready. It's going to be awesome. Don Pappy is up, taking into account all the things we know are coming this year on Hive and Splinterlands. Price prediction for Hive and SPS
56.
56 cents. I would say around 50 cents for SPS. That would be my guesstimate. Especially if, well, I think SPS is the reason it's so low is that all of those original investors are still cashing out and they're selling theirs on the market. So there's this big sell off every single day. When use case comes in with player staking, that'll skyrocket. But also, and I still think there's a big conspiracy with the powers that be don't want any Hive, Hive related projects, let's say, on big exchanges. But I think if SPS got on Binance, if SPS got on Huobi, if SPS got on some of these bigger exchanges, you would see the price of SPS grow. It was the number one trending token yesterday on CoinGecko because of the Waka Spirit Blade. Absolutely epic sale. John got one. Like, come on, Task. You didn't even say congratulations for getting one. No, you don't even care. You don't even know what that is, Dan. So that's fine.
No, I knew what it is because you talked about it last week or the week before. But how much? I didn't know when they had it. How much did they go for?
It was around 1,600 US. They were guesstimating at the time. It was 500 voucher tokens and 5,000 SPS. So you had to have that liquid. It sold out in 12 seconds.
Unreal.
So, isn't that crazy?
Unreal.
I literally refreshed after I bought it and it was gone. It was sold out.
It's I'll give you some insight into another post I'm going to write this weekend about inflation. People are worried about price increases. I mean, 1,600 for a digital item, and there were 500, so 500 times 1,600 is what 80 grand? 80 grand for nothing physical, created out of nowhere. So, NFTs exist. Just think that through, and more are to come.
Yeah, right now the cheapest you can buy Waka on the market is $2,300. So
now are you putting yours out there for like $5,000 just to?
I'm never selling that thing.
Oh,
never. To me, it's like Splinterlands has always been a long play for me. Always. It will always be a long play.
Yeah, but you've thrown cards and you've thrown stuff up there. You've said that, hey, I got this, and you throw it up there, and hey, if somebody meets my price, great, I'll just take it.
Oh yeah. If someone, okay. So if someone's gonna sit there and offer me 50 grand for the card, I'll probably sell. But I'm in no desire to do that right now. But it was amazing, and there's going to be a lot more attention, I think, to SPS and Splinterlands because of things like this. They're going to do more and more.
Now, let me ask you a question and get your personal view on that.
Yep.
There was the announcement this week of Splinterlands and Warner Music. There was a announcement of a partnership to create blockchain gaming.
Yeah.
And it's a separate entity, it's a separate focus. It's not tied to Splinterlands. It's not necessarily tied to Hive. And obviously, Splinterlands has multi-chain focus anyway. They have stuff on Wax. They tie into Ethereum. So they've been multi-chain for a while. What are your thoughts on this? Does this tie into the Splinterlands game at all in the future, in your opinion? Does this tie into Hive at all, in your opinion? Do you have any insight into that? Do you have any opinions into that? What do you think?
I think this is like, okay, so I'm going to put I was in the music industry for years hat on right now. What I can see down the road is things like this are absolutely fantastic promotional items for artists.
Hmm.
Um, Now, Waka is got his own little niche, but he was, very popular 10 years ago. To be brutally honest with you, I didn't even know Warner Music still existed. I mean, it used to be a really big label back in the day, but I didn't even know. That's how far out of the loop I am. But can you imagine some of these artists working with Splinterlands? And I mean, I'm just thinking of Splinterlands, not what they're potentially going to do, but just like a Splinterlands example, where they create these promo cards for their artists. It raises massive awareness for their artists. They're plugging into the biggest blockchain game online, and this would just be huge. Like, what an amazing promotional tool that you would have at your disposal, um, creating a card for your artist. So I could see things like that. So Warner Music, would be in partnership with Splinterlands. They could do this. I have no idea what they're going to do outside of it. Again,
Well, it said they're going to create blockchain games, and
right.
it
Yeah.
would stand to reason what they create with Warner Music will incorporate what you're saying. I
Yeah.
don't know if that will be incorporated in the Splinterlands game itself.
Yeah.
It could.
Right.
Nobody knows. There's been no indication one way or another, so we're all just speculating.
Right.
Um, obviously, at worst case scenario, the benefits are going to be indirect. Or worst case scenarios, we get indirect benefits because the Splinterlands brand is going to grow, which
Right. Yeah.
obviously you can't separate that from the game, which then it does have ties to Hive.
Mm.
The other thing is do these games they develop use the Hive account system for their login for monetization?
Right.
Because wouldn't it stand to reason, since the same people to a degree are behind Hive Engine, also behind NFT Showroom, that they would want those assets listed on those platforms?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's really exciting to see what they're gonna do. So, um, strap up, man. Put on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. See where it goes. Finally, our last comment of the week. Thank you guys. Was Opinionized Unlimited. Opinionized Unlimited. It's a cool name. It's hard to pinpoint one thing, so I'll have to say the overall scaling in multiple directions is what has me most hyped up. The innovation, the results from Hive being based off of real community and communication is a huge plus. Again, to me, it's price is meh. What matters to me is use case, development, and right there, what you said, community. The fact that there's so many vibrant, active, passionate communities being built here and grown here each and every day gets me fired up. You know what? I might not join the Mittens for Kittens group, not Facebook group, but the Mittens for Kittens group on Hive. I might not, but you know what? There's going to be people that do. I might not
Is
join
that a
the.
group?
I'm just, it's Blaine always uses that example in shows, Mittens for Kittens. That's his niche of choice. So, yeah. But there's a different flavor for everyone here, and that's what's got me very excited about Hive. So,
Here's a way of looking at it. I think a case could be made that Hive is one of the leading, if not the leading, blockchain. In fact, I'm going to go out on record and say Hive is the leading blockchain in layer 0 and layer 1,
mhm.
far beyond anything else out there right now in layer 0 or layer 1. And I don't know if you can really challenge that, because we know the layer 0, and that's using, they call me Dan's term, for community. You have that community. We already proved our metal, 2 years ago with
Yeah.
that. And as we found out on Tuesday, there was nothing that and okay, blockchain is biased because it's his work or partially his work. But, he was basically very complimentary to the team saying, we're focusing on the things that are going to make this thing scale, which is what was in the last comment. And, we're going to do things. And now the half is going to allow for even more development, easier to use for these developers. And, that just makes that layer one even that much stronger. So, who can combine that with that sense of community? There may be bigger blockchains with bigger communities. Obviously, Ethereum has it. But do those people really give a crap? Probably not. They use it for the DeFi. And as we know, if there's a cheaper alternative, most people jump to the cheaper alternative. And, Binance Smart Chain, that's great. But how much is Polygon going to eat into Binance Smart Chain? It's probably going to eat into it. And, the community isn't in those places because what are they? They're DeFi. Okay, if I can make some money there, I'll go there. If I can't make any money, I don't give a crap.
Layer zero, man. It's the best. We did it, man. We got through them. Everyone's comments, questions. Appreciate you. Thank you guys for making these Friday shows so much fun. Big plans for the weekend. I'm sure Task. No, he'll probably just be creating content.
My hand. I'm hoping my hand gets better.
Yeah.
If not, I'm on the sidelines. I can't get the same amount of text in blocks that I like on a weekly basis. So my numbers are going to be falling off in terms of my comments and stuff. So it's.
Maybe we just need to do podcasts every day then.
Yeah. I had to come on your show last night, but I forgot again.
Oh, wow. There you go.
I can't. I got to get you in the habit, in the rotation in my mind. Especially since, by the way, everybody keep Starkers in your thoughts and prayers. CTT was canceled yesterday because he's in the Ukraine and they had no internet. So our thoughts need
Starkers is in Ukraine, really?
That's what Dan said. He was in the Ukraine, and there's a digital nomad. He goes into a war zone. I mean, leave it to Starkers. It's like, well, he always wants to change things and help freedom and humanity. Well, okay, a war zone is. I don't know what he's doing in the Ukraine, but that's what. Damn. He mentioned one of the cities there. So, keep them in your thoughts and your prayers and whatever else you have that he gets through this safely.
For sure.
So we all have issues and we all have things going on.
Well, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. And we will see you on Tuesday because we've got Eco Instant is our guest on the 1st of March. So should be fun. Toodles.
Ciao.